person who spoke negatively about Latrice, and I was that sprinter from Glass. But I don't think Latrice ever heard it because she was always behind Latrice. All right, I went last not because I'm the best, but because, and I just figured I wanted to take the longest because I really can't go to the restaurant until 7 o'clock, so we got 26 minutes, so I hope y'all ready. No, it won't be too bad. I'm going to try to speak without this mic, so there you go. Oh my goodness, it's killing me. Now, the next person I'm going to induct will be another former baseball player. Last year, one of his teammates was inducted by his father, Lucas Jones, but I'm going to talk about Grant Achilles. You know, these coaches were talking about, I saw him in middle school, and I saw him here. I was thinking back, and I'm guessing somewhere around 1988, I think I introduced myself to Grant, or Grant introduced himself to me. I just became named the head coach, and so I started venturing out to Miller Park, looking to make sure people knew who I was, that I was going to be the new head baseball coach, and I'm pretty sure one of his two older brothers was probably playing at the time. And I just walked around, and I used to do the Parks and Rec camp, and I think Grant showed up for that, along with the Wonderful World of Daycare, whatever they were called. Every Tuesday and Thursday, they bring the bus, drop off, and they come do it. And they were fun, but, you know, so we're looking at 30 plus years, I guess. Grant was probably 5 or 6. You know, we looked at, I think I put down some notes, where did it start? Probably somewhere around 1988. You know, I think we look at different ways that different players, you know, and all the players that I coached were special to me. Some of them didn't think they were, but they were special to me because, like I tell people now, like, you know, I told the story 1,000 times, you know, the people I coached the first 3 or 4 years, I apologize to them because I know I've mentally, physically, and verbally abused them. And I got a little bit better, and I know some former players came back, and, you know, they were you know, I think when I came back in 2010, I think it was, or something like that, 2010, and, you know, I was different. I spent, you know, 9 years coaching in college, you know, and so I was different. And the players I were coaching, oh, Coach Knight is so mean, and these guys would come around and say, man, y'all don't know nothing, man. You guys got it made. But when we look at, you know, with Grant, you know, I guess it starts with the baseball family. I can remember, you know, Doug, Marie, Chad, Todd, and Grant. You know, the brothers played for me, so I guess it was not too bad because the oldest brother survived me, then the next one came, and then the third one came. You know, and I was talking to Grant yesterday when he stopped by the school. I mean, you look at the brothers, you have Chad. Chad, probably a hard worker. He blocked balls. He do whatever it had to do to stop the ball and then throw it to get somebody out. I mean, just played his heart out. Probably didn't have a lot of the same abilities that his, you know, younger brothers had. But, you know, he was 100% all the time, and it was yes, sir, every time. You know, just a great person. And he went to Wake Forest, okay? Then we got Todd. Todd, great skills. I mean, he could play shortstop. He could probably play any place on the field. You know, he was a shortstop pitcher for me. You know, he just a great player. Had great skills. I know that sometimes, and I think in his senior year, I used to play a trick on him. I let him go take infield, and I tell him when he came back in, he was pitching. You know, the reason why is, you know, and I'm not going to use that term like I used back then, but he would try to overthink everything. You know, and so I remember Coach Storm, you know, my famous quote was, Coach Storm, I'll play anybody, anywhere, at any time. You just let me know. And so I got my schedule, and I looked at it, and I had EC Glass on Monday, Halifax on Tuesday, GW Danville on Wednesday. I said, Coach Storm, I was just kidding. You know, so we went, and I said, okay, my plan here is to win 2 out of 3. So we beat Glass. I said, great. You know, it's always good to beat Glass. And so we go to Halifax, and I said, I'm going to get my second win tonight. And so, you know, I told Todd on Monday, I said, Todd, you're pitching on Tuesday. Get down there, Todd, don't make it out of the first inning. And I said, okay. So we end up losing the game 15-14. And then, so we took infield. We playing GW at the stadium, I believe, the next day. And Todd went out and took ground balls at shortstop like he was going to play shortstop. He came back in. I said, Todd, you're pitching. Well, we go out. I think he shuts them out 2-0. You know, so Todd was a great. Then we get to Grant. Grant comes along. Grant has been to every camp I think I ever ran. He came to all the Parks and Recs camps. He came to the Heritage High School baseball camp. He came to watch his older brothers play. He was always around Heritage High School baseball. Okay, I think that Marie would agree with me. He was probably the mischievous child of the three Achilles boys. He was pretty sneaky, but he had a determined attitude to always be better than whoever was on his team or whoever he was playing against. He was determined that he was going to be the best. You know, and if I describe Grant as part of the Achilles clan of baseball players, he was just a baseball player. He just showed up and he played. Things didn't faze him, things didn't bother him. He just showed up and played. You know, he would play the game, and he would, you know, he was a leadoff hitter, and I guess he got kind of mad. You know, why am I leading off? Because I went to a coach's clinic, and the guy said, you need to have somebody leading off can hit the ball at the ballpark. And he goes, I don't think I can. I said, I don't either, but we're going to see. But he can get on base, and I think I remember at the field up here where this building is now, he hit a home run. I said, see, I told you you could do it. That's why I put you at leadoff. You know, you can't talk about Grant, and you can't without talking about his mom and dad. You know, Doug and Marie were always supportive of all three of their sons. You know, I know Miss Jones and Ms. Achilles were talking outside. You know, we talked about, they were supportive of everybody in the baseball program. They were supportive of everything that went on at Heritage High School. You know, we talked about, I mean, you know, they created lists. They worked in the concession stand. Their son was getting ready to bat. They would step out the concession stand. I mean, they embodied what we want Heritage High School to be. I know there was plenty of times I got phone calls from, usually it was from Marie. She says, can you meet with Doug and I? I said, yeah, okay. So we come up to the baseball field, and all those, you know, even though I think sometimes I appeared that I was upset or mad or whatever,